When it comes to modifying your four-wheel drive to head off-road, there's pretty much no limit to the amount of mods and accessories you can get. But if you're just starting out and your four-wheel drive is stock standard, what are the mods you should do first before hitting the tracks? What's up guys, and welcome to a brand new year, but the same old garage. I hope you guys had a fantastic break and got to enjoy at least a little bit of time off over the Christmas and New Year's period. I was lucky enough to enjoy a couple of off-camera camping trips, which is just something I like to do at the end of the year to try and relax and refresh, so I'm ready to hit the ground running in the new year. So the purpose of today's video is basically to answer the question that I had when I bought my first four-wheel drive some 10 years ago. What mods should you start with when setting up your four-wheel drive for some off-grid touring? Now, this isn't about gear. I'll do a separate video on what gear you should always take when you're hitting the tracks. This is about what mods you should make to the vehicle itself. Now, there's no particular order to this list. It's just the 5 things I think you should do first in any old order. And also, of course, it's just my personal opinion, so feel free to take it with a pinch of salt. Anyway, let's get started. First on the list is a UHF or ultra high frequency radio. If you're traveling with a group, these are a great way to chat to others in your convoy. I spy with my little eye something beginning with B for Bob.
I'm not playing I spy with you, you big idiot.
But they're even more important if you're traveling alone, because if you get stuck, the golden rule is to stay with your vehicle, so being able to scan for and communicate with people nearby could be a lifesaver. Now, as for the different styles, you can get versions like these that permanently install in your four-wheel drive and come with an externally mounted antenna. Or you can get handheld versions like this, which are a lot more portable and allow you to use them away from the vehicle, around camp for example. But keep in mind that the permanent install versions like this with their big external antennas do have a much larger transmission range. Next up is a bit of an insurance policy in case you get stuck, and I mean we've all been there, and that's rated recovery points, with an emphasis on the rated bit, because so many people use the factory tie-down points that come with the vehicle, and I mean they look nice and strong, but when it comes down to it, they're not designed to take the force required for a proper recovery. Now ideally you'd have recovery points front and rear, because depending on how you're stuck, there may be only one direction you can go. I've got a bit of a confession to make here. I still haven't got around to fitting front recovery points to the Ranger, so if I get stuck, I can only be recovered using my rear recovery point, which is this aftermarket recovery hook that slides into my tow hitch. You can buy recovery points to suit most vehicles online if you're handy on the tools and plan on installing them yourself, or most four-wheel drive stores will supply and install points to suit your vehicle. And for the price you pay to potentially save your four-wheel drive, I'd say they're a worthy investment. The next thing I'd absolutely recommend would be a second starting battery that's isolated from your main battery, just like I've got here, or at very least a portable jump start pack to suit your engine size. The reason for this is that flat batteries happen, whether you've left your interior lights on, run your fridge a bit too long, or maybe your battery's just carked it. Now imagine this happens in the middle of nowhere with no phone reception and no one else around. What do? In my opinion, having a backup way to start your vehicle is really important. Granted, that is more for the solo adventurer though, I suppose, because if you're traveling in a group, you could always just get a jump start or a push start. Number 4 would be upgraded suspension. A good suspension package will help to keep your car nice and level, give you a bit of extra ground clearance, and also ensure your wheels stay on the track while off-road, allowing you to tackle more difficult four-wheel drive obstacles at a slower and more controlled speed. Aside from improving your vehicle's off-road capabilities, it's also going to make the ride a whole lot more comfortable, which is something I can personally attest to because the Ranger was so uncomfortable on its stock suspension. And lastly, with your extra ground clearance gained by a suspension upgrade, you might be able to fit some slightly larger tyres. Which brings us on to our 5th and final mod. Yep, the 5th and final thing I'd recommend you get early on would be a set of four-wheel drive tyres to suit your vehicle and the type of four-wheel driving you like to do. The tyres that four-wheel drives come on from factory usually have pretty weak sidewalls that are prone to off-road punctures, and while the tyres themselves might be fine for the sand, they do come unstuck when it comes to mud or rocky terrain. There's that many different styles and options out there that it would pretty much be impossible for me to give you a blanket recommendation, but if I could give you one piece of advice, it would be to really take your time and do your research before deciding. Actually, one thing I will recommend is to forget about the looks. Tyres are an expensive upgrade and you don't want to spend all that money on something that looks great but doesn't match the type of forward driving that you like to do. I'd also recommend not going too crazy on the tyre size. Sure, bigger tyres will give you more ground clearance, but they're also more effort for your vehicle to turn, which is bad for your fuel economy and puts more strain on your car. For reference, I've got 32-inch BFG KO2 all-terrains, and I find they're the perfect size for the Ranger. And they match my style of driving perfectly, which is mainly sand with a bit of mud and rocky terrain thrown in every now and then. Now, I know I said 5, but I've got one more bonus one for you, and that's a nice strong Bullbar. First and foremost, it gives you a lot of extra protection up front, which is almost essential if you plan on doing a lot of long distance driving, especially around dusk, but it also gives you somewhere to mount a whole range of four-wheel drive accessories, such as spotlights, antennas, winches, and more. Anyway guys, if you've been four-wheel driving for a while, you've probably got most of those mods already, but if you're new to four-wheel driving, I hope that list gives you a good place to start. They're also just my personal opinions as well, so if you guys have got any other mods you think are more important, please let me and everyone else know in the comment section down below. If you're in the mood for another top 5, check out this video here, or for something a bit different, check out this video instead. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.